Hi guys, Josh here. So, you guys may be wondering, well, probably heard all about it, well, what's going to happen in Phase 2? So with Phase 2, what we do know so far. No Raiden will be the next raid for Phase 2. The level cap will be raised to level 40, and the profession cap will be at least raised to 225. Now, we're not sure whether it will be raised to 300 or not, given the fact that Blizzard last time made sure that 225 wasn't possible when we reached 25 by upping it to level 26. There may be precedent that they could do the same here and up it to 41 rather than keeping at level 35. The new runes will be added, but we don't know whether or not the belt rune will be added. We just know that new runes are going to be added. Last but not least, the Strangle Vale fishing tournament will begin after it was disabled from last time, which would have just turned into a giant gangfest anyway. Next up, we're going to go through the things that are rumoured to be in Phase 2. The first thing is the new PvP event. So obviously with Ashen Vale, we've had the first phase PvP event, that will stop, and people are not sure whether the PvP event is going to be in Stranglethorn Vale, where it's hotly contested, or Arathi Highlands. Stranglethorn Vale, of course, would be slightly Horde favoured, given the fact that Horde have two flight paths in the zone, being Gromgol and Strangle and Booty Bay, while Alliance only has one flight zone in the zone, being just Booty Bay. However, they do have the neighbouring Darkshire, but I wouldn't say that is enough compared to Gromgol. I think Gromgol is a superior flight path compared to Darkshire. Now, last but not least, the other thing that could be added in the Phase 2 could be belt runes. So we did see in the beta, we saw Shuriken Toss in particular for rogues. We're not sure if belt runes are going to be introduced during this phase. Now, the next part is, what do players want and what do I want? I'm going to share my opinions on what I want in Phase 2 as well. So I want runes to be able to be put on multiple sets of gear. Currently, it's very, very restrictive, where it's on chest, legs, or gloves, and you can only have it for that type. Say, for example, there's multiple runes that are locked behind on the armor class. For example, there's Metamorphosis and Chaos Bolt, so you can't have a Chaos Bolt weaving Demon Hunter tank at all. Not saying that, obviously it's going to be optimal to do that, but there's a lot of builds that are currently locked out due to the same armor type being used by another rune that could complement it. I mean, obviously, Everlasting Affliction, stuff like that as well, could be really complementary with Demonic Pact in particular, and having those on different, on the same armor slot really hurts it. Now, obviously, you can have this as an unlockable rune in general, and I think a lot of people will be complaining about reusing old runes, but I don't think they realize that, this is the season of discovery, and that you can discover new sorts of builds by having these multi-rune sets and adding new runes at the same time. I suspect that Blizzard may only add 4 runes and probably add a few hybrid runes, but we'll see what Blizzard will do. But that's my kind of argument, that it's kind of restrictive, and how builds are very, very restrictive and doesn't allow the player to really discover their own builds. They've given just only a taste of discovery so far. The next part would be runes in general to not involve raids. I mean, we saw how chaotic the Paladin and Warlock runes were, given the fact that Warlock had to go on the BFD raid to get it, which was later hotfixed, and that was incredibly, incredibly disappointing to see that a rune was locked behind the raid when everyone, when they were really hyping up the ability for Warlocks and Rogues and Mages to be different classes, such as tanks and healers, retrospectively. Also, another part as well that I do want to see the Tauren Paladin and the Dwarf Shaman. They have kind of hinted at this with the Hillsbrad Foothills quests to get the Void Armaments, where basically someone will allow about, a Great Shard of Light being there. And I really want to see those class combinations. However, it'll probably be pretty difficult given the fact that a lot of Dwarf Shamans and Tauren Paladins will have to level up from level 1. And that could be quite annoying when you're missing out some crucial raid elements as well. Not to mention you have to collect all the runes from Phase 1 and a bit from Phase 2, which means that you're left behind, with your friends having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much it. Now, another thing I do want as well is a new set of crafting recipes for pre-raid Biss in particular, or give some good stats pre-raid Biss. This is not too much of an issue for 25 to 40 compared to what it was at level 25, where there was no cloth belt or no cloth shoulders for casters at all. So you basically have to get your spell damage gear in the raid. However, I still want to see that sort of easy gear set to obtain, such as the Invoker's Belt and the Invoker's Mantle, but in different pieces depending on how hard the loot is to get. Like, they could be, for example, a plate chest. Obviously, plate chest is actually the easiest one to get because you can get it from Razorfed Downs. But let's just say Razorfed Downs chest was level 41 and there was no really good DPS chest. They could have a similar chest to the Razorfed Downs ones. I think it's Arian Crash's Carapace. And they could have a new one that's craftable with blacksmithing, with of course iron or mithril or whatever the top mineral is at the time. That would be awesome to see. And the last but not least for Gnome Reagan, I would like to see more of the void touched armaments make a bit of a return as well, but with more of a Gnome Reagan sort of style. I think the void touched gear was actually pretty huge for crafters because it gave crafters an extra edge compared to other people who didn't have any crafting mats, not crafting professions. Also, as well, I think the sharpening stones and mana oils, hopefully they will make a return as well, and basically provide another buff just in Gnome Reagan. I think that system absolutely worked in Blackcraft and Depths, and I think it do so overall. Now, the next part is how the raid buff is going to work as well. If there's going to be any raid buff from completing the end boss, which is going to be Mechanician Femba plug, I assume, at this stage, but we don't actually know. And I would like to see that being done. As part of my final thoughts, I think those key changes will help Season Discovery further by creating new builds. Obviously, there will always be a cookie cutter build. It'll also, as well, provide a lot of access to a lot of newer players to get into the raid easier, as the biggest issue with raiding in particular is a lot of these gatekeepers who basically want someone to be ridiculously overgeared to come into a run, rather than just having an easy to craft recipe to go into the raids. A lot of people may obviously criticize this. However, it will be very difficult for newer players to get into the raids, therefore they lose interest, and therefore the population of Season Discovery goes down. I feel it's probably a good change to make sure that they don't get all the pre-biss, have to explore themselves by doing various dungeons, but they at least get some pieces of gear where they could enter into these dungeons. Anyways, that's enough for me. Hopefully Phase 2 will include some big benefits. I know I didn't touch on the quests being reset or anything like that, but I feel like if you gain the extra gold from doing the quest, it's kind of your own fault by taking the experience for gold. So I think it's a risk that you kind of have to bear. At the end of the day, I'm going to say, you should have enough pre-quests in general, and then basically dungeon grind to whatever, if you're on a PvP realm. And if you're in a PvE realm, you just level as normal. I'll probably come out with a preparation guide a bit later, so that's kind of a channel update. But if you guys enjoyed this quick video, hope you guys have a great day, and leave a like and comment or whatever on the bottom. Let's see you guys soon. Bye.